Build your deck with the right cards and the right upgrades to gain the gold and the artifact rewards in Shadows, Heroes and Monsters.
And today we'll be diving into a quick start tutorial for Shadows, Heroes and Monsters. We'll explain everything you need to know to get started quickly if you want to pick up the details and icons as you go along, in 15 minutes or less.
And hello everyone, it's Stella.
And Tarrant, and welcome to Meeple University.
If you enjoyed this video, maybe after watching it, please like, share, let us know if you have any comments and subscribe. And let's get to the classroom.
In Shadows, Heroes and Monsters, players command heroes in the Cave of Edaroth, delving and fighting in search of artifacts, gold, and ultimately the mystical Shadow Stones. Players will build up a deck of skills, spells and creature cards, using them to fight against the monsters and against each other in search of the stones. The game ends after 3 monsters are defeated, or once a player has gathered 9 Shadow Stones, and whoever has the most stones will win. In this video, we're using a prototype for the 2nd edition, so components and artwork may not be final. To set up, each player chooses a hero and takes all of its starting cards, some face up and some face down. You'll have a starting item, starting resources, gold and experience, a secret mission card, and a library of neutral skill cards which form a personal deck and which can later be gained to upgrade your standard hero deck. Level 1, 2 and 3 monsters are randomly chosen, with the level 1 revealed. Shadows, Heroes and Monsters is played in rounds, and each round has 6 phases. First is Team Up. One player is the leader and chooses either gold or experience, which all players gain. Then the leader draws monster action cards equal to the player count, looks at them and chooses one to give to each player. This will determine the monster's first action against that player this round. Second is Plan. For a level 1, 2 or 3 monster, choose 3, 4 or 5 cards from your current deck to form your hand. That means each player's hand size increases by 1 each time a player defeats a monster. At the start of the game, the hand size will be 3. You always have free choice of cards from your entire current deck. Third is Combat, which is the largest of the phases. Combat is played over 6 numbered initiative steps. First, the leader announces Initiative 1. Then, clockwise from the leader, each player has a turn to play and resolve any Initiative 1 cards from their hands. Once everyone has had a turn to do this, move to Initiative 2. And same thing. First the leader, then all other players in clockwise order have the chance to play and resolve their Initiative 2 cards. Continue in this manner through all 6 initiative steps. When your turn begins in any initiative, you must declare all of the cards you intend to play and the order in which you'll play them. You then resolve them one at a time in that order. If an early card doesn't resolve the way you are hoping, you can forego later cards, but you can't change the resolution order. Cards have keywords which determine how they're resolved and which other cards trigger from them. Certain keywords tend to be found in certain initiatives, which gives each round a consistent flow. Predict cards, for example, tend to appear in Initiative 1. When you play one, choose an opponent and one of the numbers on the card. If the opponent has a card in hand matching the initiative that you guessed, then it's a successful prediction. Resolve the success effect, a positive effect for the guesser or negative consequence for the guessee. You can't make the same prediction, that is, the same combination of player and initiative number, as a previous prediction from this round. When someone uses Predict against you, you don't have to reveal the cards, but you do have to answer truthfully. That said, because you have a consistent set of cards in your current deck, successful predictions still give your opponents some pretty good information about what you might have in hand. Initiative Step 2 is mostly about attacks, and you can attack the current monster or a card belonging to an opponent. When you attack an opponent, that player has the chance to play a response. That is an initiative step 5 card which is played outside of its normal step and which has the response attack keyword. These can block, retaliate, or trigger some other effect. The player who's being hit then assigns any unblocked attack points by breaking shields or suffering damage. If you suffer total damage equal or greater than your health, you are knocked down, lose a resource of your choice, and recover full health. If you knock down an opponent, then you gain an experience and a gold, but find a bounty placed upon you. Each of your bounties increases the gold reward by 1 for the next player to knock you down, incentivizing others to attack you in return. All bounties are lost the next time your hero is knocked down by one of the other players. When you attack the monster, flip your monster action card, or draw a new one to flip if your starter is already face up, and resolve the monster's effect which corresponds to that icon before resolving your damage. This could be a response to block your attack, or perhaps an attack of its own. Monster actions have the same types of keywords as player actions and thus will trigger and can be responded to in the same way. Mark any damage you manage to deal in a damage counter of your colour, because it's the first player who individually does damage equal to the monster's health who defeats it and earns the reward. The players are not working together and you never combine their damage towards a common goal. If, on the other hand, a monster knocks you down, then in addition to your normal resource penalty, all of your opponents gain 1 gold. Initiative Step 3 is for the monster, not the players. Any player who has not yet flipped their monster action card, which was assigned in the team up step, flips it now and resolves the corresponding effect. Initiative Steps 4 and 5 include most of the recovery or response actions, although they do contain some other types of active cards. And Initiative 6 features persistent cards such as creatures and attachments, which are placed into play and remain in your station field into future rounds. These have different persistent or one-time active abilities, which are triggered in their relevant initiative steps. Some of these have their own healths and shields, and they'll remain in play until they themselves are attacked and defeated. Scattered throughout all 6 of the steps, you'll also find spells, which are simply resolved according to their text. Spell damage, unlike attack damage, cannot be blocked or defended by shield. Also constantly in play are the hero's special cards and any Initiative 0 cards the player owns in their current deck. These go straight into play without having to be chosen by a hand. Players need to keep aware of any triggered effects across their entire station field. For example, each player has a starting 0 card flat-footed, and if a player takes full damage from any one attack, it flips over to dodge, letting the player mitigate 5 damage on a subsequent attack this round as a response to attack. Fourth is build-up, and this is where players work to improve their heroes and cash in for the all-important Shadow Stones. The first step of this is to buy items. Players take turns from the leader and going clockwise until everyone passes, and on your turn you have the chance to pay the printed gold cost to buy a single item. You can see the item cost in the top right corner of the card. You can hold any number of items, but only a single restricted item. So if you buy a second, you must discard one of them. Then players may simultaneously buy cards from their libraries into their current decks at a cost of 3 experience apiece. You can always look through and purchase from your entire library deck. Items will help to level up the player's statistics. Stronger statistics can make your existing cards more powerful to play. This card, for example, is an attack with strength equal to the blue statistic, so here 4. It also allows stronger cards to be played. You can always buy any card from your library to your current deck, but you can only play a card if your statistics at least match what's printed in the top right corner. This card could be owned but not played due to the yellow statistic, while this card could be played. Making these purchases in the build-up phase is also the main way for you to gain the all-important shadow stones that you need to win, since you'll gain a shadow stone in this phase every time you purchase a new item card, and every time you purchase a card from your library to your deck. In this way, the key to the game is not just winning combats for the sake of it, it's making sure that you can extract gold and experience points from as many actions as you can. The best tip you can remember when trying to play the game well is that right back at the plan phase of each round, make sure you're picking a hand of cards which, based on the current layout of the board, are going to generate those resources efficiently. If you can play your 3 cards and finish with 3 new resources, then you're well on the way towards winning. The 5th phase is cleanup. Players resolve any cleanup auto effects on cards in their fields, and retrieve all non-persistent, non-stunned cards to their current decks. Any cards which were stunned through their effects remove 1 stun token, as this keeps the card out of your current deck for a certain number of rounds, and then pass the leader card clockwise. Last is the refresh phase. Refill any empty slots in the item market, and if a monster was defeated last round, flip the new monster face up. This sequence covers the general flow of play, and for all of the specific traits and keywords, check the rulebook for the particulars. The game ends in the cleanup phase if a player has defeated the level 3 monster, or if 1 or more players has 9 or more shadow stones. Players now reveal and hopefully score the mission cards they chose in setup, and the player with the most shadow stones wins. If tied, whoever items have the highest gold value breaks the tie. If still tied, most leftover experience, and if still tied, victory is shared. And that's our quick start tutorial for Shadows, Heroes and Monsters. Again, we're using a prototype copy of the game, so the rules and components may not be final, and do check out the project page for the game. We'll put a link to that in the description below.
Thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, let me know and share it with your friends, and hopefully you have a wonderful day. See you next time.